There's a question I've been asking myself over and over again about feminism, which is, does feminism have a goal that we feel like at some point, once it's accomplished, the term or the label of feminist or feminism is going to like end? Or is this a lifelong thing? And this question, I'm bringing it because I've thought about it in a sense that if it is a lifelong fight, if feminism is something that is going to happen forever, does that mean that we are admitting that forever men are going to always be born with the advantage? Or do we feel like at some point in life, women would end up being able to match up with the standard that men have been privileged to have? Are we going to get to that point? And once we get to that point, are we going to keep on calling ourselves feminists if we identify as feminists? Or is the feminist movement going to continue? Now, stay with me. Let me take you through my thought process. So, first of all, let's start with feminism. Most of us by now already know what exactly it is, and it's something that has existed even way before the label or the term feminism came to be. There were women that were fighting for the rights for women. And whether we like it or not, especially me coming from a woman, I'm someone that has admitted that there's a difference between the man and the woman. And because of that, one gender or one group have not necessarily been privileged to have the rights or the luxury of choosing whatever they want to choose compared to the other, which in our case, it was women. When women's rights started, like I said, way before even the term feminism came into play, it had to do with things like the woman's right to vote, probably even way before that, voting and all that, just being part of the system. Women just wanted to be included and let their voices be heard. A woman was always put down not to speak, before feminism and women's rights really took into full action. I'm pretty sure I will not be able to be here right now having the opportunity to speak, because the ideal was for the woman to kind of like not just be so opinionated. Now, before I continue, I just want to say something. As a Christian, I need people to understand that being a Christian and being someone who agrees that there are certain things a woman should have rights to do does not separate it. Like there's no divider between those two. A woman is supposed to be submitted to her husband. I'm not obliged to be submitted to any random man. So if we're going to talk about submission, oh, you're a Christian, why should you feel like women should fight for their rights to match up to or do things that the men have been given the privilege to do? Why not? Because we are human beings, thinking, functioning human beings. So, like I said, coming from a woman, I can completely empathize and understand why I would not like, what was happening to women, because we still have like little droplets and personal encounters as women that we can all like understand ourselves on whenever we talk about our experience living as women on planet Earth. But then I am at a generation where the women who fought for all this have given me the convenience of now being able to express myself the way I would like to. There was the first wave of feminism, the second wave, the third wave, and right now we are at the fourth wave. You see, the first and the second wave, I really, really, I can resonate with that. I can understand that. Those are things that I would stand strong and, agree on that. Yes, this movement makes sense. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's only women. Men too can be feminists. The first wave had a lot to do with, like I said, right to vote, right to education, intellectual property. Before, when a woman was smart, wanted to go to school and was able to do things, I mean, you've seen jokes about it now, where is she's a witch. Immediately, she's a witch. Put her at the stake, burn her because she's a woman. She shouldn't be able to do certain things. Or maybe something is invented and she's not giving her flowers, her accolades. She's not giving the recognition she deserves, or she maybe is very intelligent in an area and she's not allowed to express herself that way because she's a woman. Basically, being a woman, being born female was limiting you as a human being, because we are all human beings. But because your gender was female, you are not allowed to do certain things. Now, those movements love it. All in for it. Nobody should make a small girl go and marry, force a woman into a man's house and say, this is your husband when she doesn't want to be there. Nobody should force any woman to do that kind of thing. Women shouldn't be forced to, stay home and rot away when they have brilliant ideas, or when they want to invent, or when they want to vote, or when they want to speak on certain situations, because we are thinking, breathing, intellectual human beings as well. If it was that a woman was programmed to be exactly like a dog who had nothing else but instincts, then we'll understand why women will be subdued to be like dogs. But we are intellectual human beings who also have the capacity to choose, who have capacity of yes and no. So why on earth should that be limited? So I understand that. But when we say moving towards the third and the fourth wave of feminism, I began to question what exactly feminists are fighting for. So hence my question, or hence the topic title. Can I really say I'm fighting for women's rights without necessarily having to call myself a feminist? Because the things that have begun to start, sprouting among the women is not making much sense to me. For instance, make this make sense. Our generation is just the start of it. By the time Gen Alpha come, I'm scared. Make it make sense why a man can decide to be a woman, go into women's sports, go and do women things, and then feminists are supporting it. That a man being a woman is womaning better than you. Make that make sense. Years and years of struggle to be able to finally bring the female gender into limelight to get their flowers, like I said. A human being born as a man can now come and say, do you know what? I feel I'm one of you and I can do you better than you. And then because you don't want to, I don't want to offend, you now keep quiet and then scatter everything we've been fighting for from the beginning. The little things like that. Or something like, because I am a woman, I should be able to sleep around. I should be able to have as multiple bodies as I want. That doesn't make any sense. It's confusing to me because you say you are a feminist. They ask you what is a woman. You cannot define a woman. You can't even define what you are fighting for. A woman is anyone that identifies as a woman. What the heck does that even mean? Please, can we think?
It's like, what is a woman?
Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of the
Why I say I really support the first and second wave of feminism is that, take me for an example, in the country I'm born in, the continent I'm born in, I'm African. And there were a lot of women who were mutilated as young girls so that they are not promiscuous or they do not enjoy intercourse, basically. That used to happen. There were people that were women, girls that were forced into situations or forced to do certain things that I'm like, God forbid, I had to be. Imagine being born in that situation. I would hate it. Just being a girl, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to, you are taken advantage of and you should keep quiet. You should take it. But then we had women who stood up and fought for the rights of young girls, fought for the rights of women and said, this is a woman. And this is what makes her a woman. And what makes her a woman is beautiful. You shouldn't suppress it. It turned from that into now wanting to become the man. Please, men, don't take it personal when I say this. But please, what is so special about man that you want to be him? Being a man has his own special things for men. And then being a woman is wonderful. Like, to me, that's the point of letting women get to the point where they can express being women. Feminism should not be about wanting to be like the man or be exactly like the man or do exactly what the man is doing. It should be about allowing the woman to live in the fullness of womanhood without having to, someone taking control of it or having to be cut down from the very beginning. You say you want multiple partners. For God's sake, if you are fighting for equality, let's just give this example from my point of view. You're fighting for equality, and one of the things you're fighting for is that you want multiple bodies. You want to be able to sleep with different people and sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. Why can't the fight be the way women have been brought up to have self-control and respect for themselves? Why can't men be like that? Why on earth must the fight be that women should replicate or be exactly like men? Men have been privileged, so want everything that a man has. Everything that the man has been privy to have is not always good. Being promiscuous is not a good quality. It's causing damage in our society. It's leading to unwanted pregnancies. And now the unwanted pregnancies, we're now fighting for abortion because we're having too much sex. Sex everywhere. Everybody's getting pregnant. Instead of now having the kids, let's not take responsibility for our action. Instead, let's kill it. Why wasn't it that, okay, we know that the men are privy to just anything or whatever they want. The women were raised under more, strict conditions to have some kind of self-control, to have some kind of... Why can't we ask that men too should be, held accountable or responsible for actions. Why was that not the fight? That what confuses me, because to be sincere, I understand, because nobody wants to have to deal with discipline. Discipline is hard. It's easier to just let loose and do whatever you feel. But doing whatever you feel lands people in trouble. You can clearly see what's happening in our generation. As time goes on, it's difficult for me to want to say I am a feminist, because it's as if the fourth wave has started turning it into something else. Nothing in me is going to ever agree that a man being in a woman's sport makes sense. No, you are a man. No, I feel like a woman. You are a man. You are a man. And feminism was supposed to be about fighting for women to live to the fullest of being a woman. Men and women are different, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with difference. Difference does not mean one is better or greater than the other, or one is less. Difference can just mean complementing. There's a reason why this is here and this is here, so that they merge and complement. It does not mean one is here and one is here. So if you feel like, okay, we need to be exactly the same, and we need to, in fact, now it's now about scraping out gender. We don't even want it because it's a social construct. It's not a social construct, my darling. You have a lot of estrogen, you're gonna grow breasts. That's not a social construct. That is literally science, or even nature. Nature is telling you there's a reason why you are designed this way. And being designed that way is beautiful. Why is it an insult? Why is it a problem? Why do you have a problem with it? This is one of the last things I want to address when it comes to feminism. I have an issue with the fact that we cannot hold ourselves accountable when things are being off key or don't seem like they're making sense anymore. It's now like a cult. Why can't someone call out things that don't make any sense? Matter of fact, even as a Christian, real gospel will tell you that if someone is misbehaving, call them out. In Christianity, there's any church that should tell you this is our doctrine, yeah and amen, and you cannot ask any questions, you cannot question it, just follow it. That's a cult. In fact, you cannot leave. If you question it, you're in trouble. If you leave, you're in trouble. If you we will chastise you. We are against you. You should not leave us. My darling, you found a cult. So if a feminist should say, yo, they're asking us what a woman is and we can't even define a woman, that doesn't make sense. And you feel like the majority of feminists feel like, anybody that wants to be a woman should be a woman. Shut up. You shouldn't talk. And then you are scared because you don't want to not be identified as a feminist again, because you really believe in the movement. What are you scared of? You are calling out something. Call it out. And for every single person who has sacrificed to make sure that women have gotten to the point where like I said, can sit down and even speak in a mic, we should be happy about it and use it to our advantage. We should take advantage of it to build ourselves, to grow, to make right thoughtful decisions for ourselves. Not that you want to is now combat against the man. It's like now feminism is about either the man, if the man doesn't become a woman and join us, it is a woman against man. Feminism is not supposed to be women against men. Now it's causing war. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's like having conversations these days with people that are, feminists, the fourth wave of feminists, is no longer about the woman's right or trying to make sure the girl child is growing up in a safe environment. It's more about I hate men and men are the problem and we need to delete them. I thought the fight was for the girl child. When did the man become the main character in our story? Look, if you feel like the men are the oppressors and the men are the reason and the men are all that, address the situation. Because can I say something that might really rile some people up? I told you all I'll be shaking tables, and I want to shake this particular table. A lot of men were raised by women. Not a lot. Majority of children that were raised are raised by women. We have literally seen in cultures where the man child is glorified over the girl child by their mothers, by a woman. So it's not about man versus woman, it's about an ideology, because there are women with the same ideology. So if we are going to fight for women's rights, fight for women. Fight an ideology that women can't vote, an ideology that women are not smart enough to go to school, an ideology that women can't be in the professional sector. Women can do all these things, but it does not take away the fact that women are different, and doing all these things should come from a place of allowing the woman to flourish as a woman. Because think about it, men and women are not the same. If women and men should be the exactly same thing, then women should be doing bricklayer now. Why don't we do that one? Go and do bricklayer. Join, enter the mud. Shake body inside there. But if you notice, it's still men that are doing most of those things, because they have capacity for it. It's something that flows with them. When it comes to physical strength, let's not gaslight each other. The man was born biologically to have more strength for certain reasons. So let him flourish in his area as a man. And if that involves building up her, building and running up and down and all that, let him do it. If a woman wants to do it, nothing is stopping you. That's what feminism is about. That, oh, me, I'm a woman and I also want to go and carry bricks. Go and carry bricks. I honestly feel like in this day and age where we are at, nobody can say that they stopped me from being a bricklayer. Who is stopping you? It's just that you won't choose it because that is not you. Because we are not necessarily wired that way. Women have areas that we flourish as women, and that's what feminism was about to me. It's about letting the woman be able to flourish as a woman. What comes natural to you? Nurturing, teaching, taking care. It came natural. And when people hear these things now, it's like you get angry. Why are you angry? These are wonderful things. These are beautiful things. These are abilities that the world needs. Let's not use this opportunity that's been given to us, what has been fought for the longest, to get women to the point where we are not looked at as incompetent animals who cannot make decisions for themselves. Because that's not what we are. Like I said, I'm a woman. I know how it feels. I've walked in the space where men are, and I've seen the subtle, ignorant behavior towards being a woman. Just because you're a woman, I would say something and is discarded, and then a guy will say exactly the same thing, and it's like, yeah, makes sense, makes sense. It has literally happened to me. That is the ideology that the woman can't carry. It's annoying, and that's what we are fighting. So back to the beginning of what I was saying, that feminism started off with a goal. And to me, it was a goal to help the girl be seen as human, be respected on earth as a human being who can make decisions, right? And that those decisions don't necessarily mean I am now a man or I want to be just like the man. It's decisions to flourish as a woman. But now it's as if we're forcing ourselves to do what the men are doing. All that they are doing, including the stupid things. What do you mean by you're sleeping with 1,000 bodies and this is woman's right, my body, my choice, and it's a movement that is helping you? Hello? Hello? How is that a movement that is helping anybody do anything? Like, what exactly is the point? It makes no sense. So, can I believe in fighting for women's rights without having to say I am a feminist? I'm not really sure if I have an answer to that. But I just do not like the idea of being identified with toxic feminism. So I know some people that sounded very stupid to them, that I want to fight for women's rights and I don't want to call myself a feminist. I never said I don't want to call myself a feminist. I would rather just not have to be using that term, because now what the term is being turned into is scary, and it's not. There are a lot of things that are being added to the movement that I do not support. So if I call myself a feminist, if I say I believe in the feminist movement, the type of feminist movement I believe in is not the general societal type that some people are trying to push. Because what I want, or what I believe that we should be fighting for as women, is to live fully as women and not necessarily try to become a man. You're a woman, and that's wonderful. And anybody that has a problem with that, that's their business. If you are a feminist and you cannot define what a woman is, you are not a feminist, you are confused. I said what I said. All right, so we've come to the end of the video, and I am really, really interested in hearing what you think. So just leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye.